It's me, Jack Devine, back again with another episode of Making the Changes. Today we're talking about the Grateful Dead song Bertha, and we're going to do an in-depth analysis on that solo you just saw. So basically, G and C, but there's some nice little tricks in there where you can mix some blues ideas, some major pentatonic, and some double stops. There's some nice little tricks, so stay tuned and I'll break it down for you note for note. So we start here, pre-bending the D up to an E flat. Okay, it's a 1 fret. So that's actually kind of an interesting choice. He's actually hitting, or I am, but I mean, I lifted this off Skull and Roses. And what's cool is that he's actually playing the C chord before it actually is happening. All this is taking place over the G chord, or with the G chord underneath it. Right? It releases into the C chord. So it's an interesting concept of playing the chord you're going to be playing over before it exists to create tension, but it really works nicely in this instance. So that's pretty simple. It's, you know, right out of... Okay, everybody got that? A, C, A, G, and then this little doohickey where you kind of go little upstroke on the minor third and we slur. Okay, we're really kind of looking to really hammer that. That's the one. I like to slide off of the E and then hit the E flat again on my way back to the... All right, try to get some of that energy. And there's a little, little ghost notes in there. And my interpretation of Garcia's style is I use a lot of that, probably too much. Okay, and then we're back to our typical, where we're pedaling off the same thing. Right. So, our first lick. All right, this lick starts with a slide. We're going to slide from down here. We just played that C note. And so you're just going to slide with the middle finger up to the 14th fret D string. All right, hitting the third of the C chord we're playing over. We're going to come up here and tag the root. You want to make it have a little sting to it. And we're going to pivot back to that starting note. Then come up to this D note. So that's E, C, E, D, right? And then we're going to clip that D note kind of short so that we have enough time to bend up to the E. And then once we're bent up, we go, that's E, D, C, A, C. Kind of following through with the same motif there. So, then we're going to bend up. kind of we poke up from the second to the third. And then that last one, we kind of bring it down. Okay, and you want to really make sure you clip it so that you're not, okay? And then once you hit that last one, really commit to some vibrato. So that's lick number 3. We're going to slide up into the third and kind of work the 5 and the 6. This kind of energy. And lots of little dead strokes or little, ghost notes. Okay, you can sound all the notes, but I think it sounds better with some notes sticking out more than others and others kind of being implied. That's kind of all the notes that he, that's all of the notes sounded for, okay? It sounded out. Now we're bending up to that C note from this A. So, and you want to give a nice singing, this is one of the harder techniques, I think, is getting the high E vibrato to work without going at the end, okay? So, slide. So we're gonna bend right up into that third after we do those the little kind of. So after that big bend up to C, we're gonna still be playing over our C chord, so we're gonna start on the second and bend into the third. That's a pretty standard line, so that's 3, 3, 3, 2, 1, 6, 1, intervals, okay? And then I pedal back and forth a couple of times with, and I come up and grab the 5 at the G note with my pinky, okay? So there's not a lot of harmonic movement, melodic movement rather in this line. It's more rhythmic. It's all about that kind of funky chicken kind of thing. So we're kind of developing that thing there at the end. So starting at the top, it would be. So that's a bend up into the 2, from the 2 into the 3 of our G chord, right? And then we hit the 6. So this line has some rhythmic displacement that's kind of nice to give that little breath. Into that little kind of mariachi thing. So C, G, back to C. So what are we doing there at the end? There's that nice little flat 3 rubbing up against the natural third, okay? That'd be. Okay, so that's 2 double stops. This is transitioning into the next lick, but I'll come back for that. So here we are. come into our little C chord shape, and we're gonna do these little dyads. We're gonna harmonize. Okay, so we're doing 2 notes, back a fret, and then come up into the next little part of our chord. So keep your fingers kind of handy in this shape. Now you can do that over 2 notes or over all 3. Depending on what you want, okay? So I usually hit those with a little upstroke and then get ready to pluck, because the next, those I played the G and E strings to create that sound. You could strum through it and hope that you don't strum. Okay, you could do, okay. But that's a technique worth learning, is how to get your middle finger to pluck up on the high E. And the idea is to create almost like, I think of that as kind of him alluding to like those Latin rhythms, you know? Kind of like he's a horn section or something playing 2 lines harmonized, so, or a line harmonized rather. So we're going. So that's the G and the E string playing at the 10th fret and then to the 12th fret. And then we're going to kind of stay in that position. Okay, because our next note is on the G string, and we slide to get to our next, and we kind of slide indiscriminately up to our next lick. And this is playing the C major pentatonic. Okay, so. So this line is 6, 5, and then so this is a really nice little triplet. You got to learn that. Flat 3 to 2 to the 1. So that's root 6, 5. And there we are. Just, this is, you know, tailor-made to come up into the 3rd of our G chord. All right, so I'll be back in a sec with the breakdown of the next line. All right, so here we are, ready to roll with the over the G chord, and we're going to be going flat 3, 3, 5, and then flat 3, 3, 6. And I try to envision, you know, lightening up my touch in here and making it where it kind of gets a little dance. It feels, I want to feel like my little fingers are dancing a little bit to make it a little more upbeat. Okay, up until that point I was playing kind of hard, you know, really kind of digging in a lot, and here I want to lighten my touch a little bit. If you're yelling at the audience the whole time what you're trying to say, it can get a little fatiguing, I think. So we've just come out of that C major pentatonic line, right? And we're gonna just take advantage of the fact that we're right, and slide into the 3rd of our new, now G chord, and we're gonna do this old lick of flat 3, 3, 5, and then we're gonna alternate and go to the 6. We're gonna do that 2 times. 1, 2, 1, 2, right? So 2 times of toggling between the 2 of them. And we're gonna, after the 3rd time, I think we jump up here and go. So that's 1, 1, 7, 6, 5. It's a very traditional line. Okay, so up to that point. Okay, and now we take a breath. Jump up here, pinky at the C note here, okay? And we're gonna pull off. Do one of those Garcia style pull-offs. So we're gonna pull off and slide. Pull off, slide down to the 5 of the C chord, and then 3 of the C chord, and then flatten our pinky ring finger out to hit the 6. And we're gonna do that. Okay, so the funny thing is, again, we're playing the C chord before the actual backing track kicks to the C, okay? So all this is still over the G. That's the strategy, basically, of this lesson, is playing the chord you're about to play into on the back end of the chord you were playing over, okay? So we were playing G. And then shift to thinking C. And that note is our next note, and that's actually the downbeat, right? That's the funky thing, right? So it's a strange sound, but it really works nicely in Bertha here. Okay, so now you can finger this much easier than jumping, and you can play the entire descending figure I'm about to play out of here. I don't know why I went. I just think I get a little better tone on the B string there in that register rather than. All right, so that's it. So real quick, that little bend, there's a little high G there at the tucked in there. And so the descending line is pretty simple. I think everybody can hear that, but we're going down the C major scale, which is very it's like a little breath of fresh air, actually, when you think about it, because up until that point we've been doing that little bluesier sound, right? We've been hitting a lot of that that energy, and all of a sudden there's this nice little light feeling that comes here. So we're going, and that's what I want you to try to impart with the rhythm too, is, hey, this is a change, like we've kind of come into a different space. And those are pull-offs. Those two and this toe are pull-offs. Then I'm going to slide down and play the same line, but harmonized. Down here, by flattening my finger. You made it! This is the last lick. We just harmonized this line. Harmony. Okay, so now we're coming up into our last G chord. Now that's the downbeat, and we're going to come up ba-da-ba-bum, right? But very quickly we're going to change the rhythmic figure too. Okay, so and then we're done. Okay, so G. Now we're going to jump up here to the A note and play chromatically up to the 3rd of the G chord, and then to the 5th. Okay, that's the D note, 5th fret. Okay, and this is like a cliche line of Garcia's. So then that's chromatically from the 5 to the 6, that's E to D, ending on the G. I'm going to jump positions and go. So go root 2, flat 3, 3. Okay, you can do it here. Or, it's kind of a stretch though, right? But you are already in position for the next half of the line. So I do jump, jump. Then chromatically, from the 3 to the 5 of the G chord. Jump again. Okay, so that's from the 5 to the 7, the flat 7, rather, of our G chord. Then we're gonna jump 2 frets, because really what we're doing is we're trying to get to this target note of we're approaching this G. We're trying to build some tension. We're gonna start on this E note. Okay, so all these are these 4 consecutive notes, you know, chromatically. And this one is kind of a fake version of that, where we skip the flat 2. All right, we don't play the G sharp. Okay, so all in. And at that point, you're done with what I'm going to provide, but you could be going one of 2 places. That's singing. I had to move, or some bands like to do the solo, so that kind of thing, where you come up and you would tag the chorus and play through maybe another round of this stuff. So that's going to wrap things up for us today. Thank you very much for tuning in to another episode of Making the Changes. I'm Jack Devine, signing off from Brooklyn, New York. Please share, like, and subscribe these lessons with your friends, okay? Take care. Bye-bye.